Mic check, mic check, mic check. Pick up everyone in the house. Let me put this over here. Get this show started. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, okay. Big up everyone. Big up Golden Black 189 in the house, and everyone else who listens in the future time and who are in the background. Big up for those who don't communicate as well. A lot of people give me private messages saying, they're a big fan and and ideas of what the show should be about. So big up them. Is that working? There we go. Yeah. So let me get the PDF that we always. Oh, what's going on? It's going a bit slow. There we go. Save view screen, and then yep. Oh, yeah. There we go. Nice. All right. So there you go. So good. I can move this out of the way now. Don't forget to tell a friend we're live. All right, so this is the 271st show. So that means that's 271 attempts at working with the community to find solutions. Hurrah, fantastic, good. All right. Come out of the way, man. Here we go. Yeah, Blackburn. So don't forget to follow the Blackburn Building Instagram page. We do a very poor job promoting it, and I think we always will. Need to take some time to try to get some traction on there, but right now, why is that help thing there? Oh, move that out of the way. I don't want that. There you go. Yeah, this is poor AI in it. Poor UI, sorry. Why would that pop up now? Or whatever. So I'm trying to post something and then I've got this. Can I get rid of it? Okay. Very bad. Sorry guys. I make apps for a living, allegedly, and yeah, where they place these buttons are terrible. All right, cool. All right. Okay, so let's go through the page. So let's start as we always start, and that is retroactive expectations. Oh yeah, I need to also remind. I've got a show to promote as well. But yeah, so what is retroactive expectations? Well, that is are the constructive activities that Black community are desired to uphold to collectively recover from the atrocities of the past. Boom, boom, boom. So we break down the 4 parts. Remember the atrocities inflicted upon the ancestors and the community in the past, and present and behave in a way that reflects this. Reconnect with the Black people locally and globally, and form networks that teach each other about the different cultures, and repair the Black community of historical trauma that causes self-hate, challenges, and health issues, and rebuild the Black family, Black economics, Black nations. All right. You know what? I didn't actually get that up. I should try to find that one. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, when I'm playing, I'll look for it. So, so in order to do those things, we say the easiest way is to practice a lifestyle known as Black Betterment, which is a lifestyle of Black people continuously helping Black people. All right. And that's what this podcast promotes. If you didn't know, now you know. Don't forget, if you're going to jump on the show, don't forget about the big up on Code Barber. If you're going to jump on the show, don't forget about the 4D values, which is discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. I'm going to be on a show, I think, this Sunday, next Sunday, so I have to remember to go there and do that and promote that if possible. Whenever you're dealing with Black people, don't forget the 4D values. It'll make finding solutions easier. Try to use a descriptive language and not derogatory language if possible, and that's very hard. All right, so the topic is peacekeepers versus racist defenders. We discussed the importance of peacekeepers within the Black community and the difference between peacekeeping and racism defenders. So yeah, I was splicing 2 topics there together. I saw some infighting of some American groups, potential infighting. Okay, this is a good time to talk because those same groups were fighting with other groups, so it's typical what happened. So I thought there's a case study, but also, it's always good that when people are fighting to try to be the peacekeepers, right? And then not to get peacekeepers mixed up with racist defenders, and that's where Brother Jedi had He's posted something I commented on, and some show he had a rapper on his show talking about an incident, a racist incident that happened in the past between a white rapper on stage making fun of Africans, and we're going to analyze and see is he defending the racists, or and then I'll go into my further analogies, and also we're going to continue the boycott benefits part 2. We discuss why using the Asian boycott discussion as a way to motivate black economics is beneficial idea. I'm going to try to bring this up in the show I'm discussing as well. I think the show that I'm going to do, do I have a video about it? So I'm going to do it's going to be, I think I told them it would be good to talk about the dynamics between black men and black women, but I'd also like to talk about black economics as well. So hopefully I can bring it up. But let's play some videos while I have to do one other thing. I have to download something, don't I? Let me see if I can find that. All right. Let's see if we can find some of the shows in 2021. Yeah, before we actually start the show, we can look at some random videos that we can get a black band perspective on. And which was the one? Oh, yeah. First was the Mind Podcast. This is what this is. Hold on. All right. So I'm not going to play no music because I'm sure it's not copyright or whatever. But yeah, this brother, 100 Eyes Powers. He changed his name. It looks like. Yeah, it's the Powers Podcast live. It's on 30th of November. Doors open at 12. The location is there it is. It's let me write it down. I'll put the postcodes, but it's 245 Wood Street. But you can always tune in as well. But good to go and support the bro. I was on one of his shows before when he had like a solo podcast streaming thing. So big up him. Free NT. Tickets available now. Just put that in there. Oh, I can't even post that. I think it's annoying that there you go. Get rid of it. Yeah, I don't know what I've seen. Some of these people I've spoken before. I think Open TV's come on here before. At first, he didn't really understand what we're about, but he seems to understand. He was a bit offended by a lot of things I was saying. It'll be a good catch-up talk with him. Don't know the others. I'm sure they're doing constructive work. And then there's some other things going on. But I was told it's going to be about black relationships. Black men, black women. And hopefully, if I can, I'll try to throw in this boycott thing. I think that'd be very good. But yeah, so that should be next week apparently. But anyway, outside of that, we've got let me find a good video to case study while I download this other video. Here we go. This is an interesting video I came across. Britain to make. So this is just Britain had to make an anti-racism training. But yeah, so. This was a British video when the US came over to England in World War II, when America came to England to do the fighting, the Nazis and stuff. They had to make a video how not to be racist because it was very normal to mistreat black people. They say over here, but when we're fighting, we don't mistreat black people like how you do it. So can you not do that? So let's see what they do while I try to find this stuff.
In World War II, Britain had to make an anti-racism training video for US soldiers.
Tea with me, both of you.
Thank you, we will.
Goodbye and good luck.
Goodbye. Bye-bye. Well, where you going?
Well, I think I'll get some cigarettes.
I'm short, too.
Well, I'll get some.
Good. Now, look, men, you heard that conversation. That's not unusual here. It's the sort of thing that happens quite a lot. Now, let's be frank about it. There are colored soldiers as well as white here, and there are less social restrictions in this country. Just what you heard, an English woman asking a colored boy to tea. She was polite about it, and he was polite about it. Now, look, that might not happen at home, but the point is, we're not at home. The point is, too, if we bring a lot of prejudices here, what are we going to do about them? Well,
Good evening, gentlemen.
Say, do you know who that is? That's General Lee, head of the services of supplies. You know that he's got a lot of colored troops under him, and they're doing a big job over here. And I happen to know that General Lee comes from Kansas, and that his family fought for the Confederacy. Let's go and see what he says about it. And so we were wondering how the general felt about him and me, sir.
America has promised the Negro real citizenship and a fair chance to make the best of himself. When the Army needs Americans to fight for the country, it takes Negroes along with whites. Everyone's treated the same when it comes to dying. And so the Army wouldn't be true to America if it didn't try to live up to the promises about an equal chance.
You mean that we have to get over our prejudices?
You don't get over a prejudice that easily. There's no use pretending we're different from what we are, but we can try to live up to our American promises. I'd go further and say we can't do less and still feel ourselves patriots. We have promised to respect each other, all of us. That's one of the reasons that makes our world worth fighting for. But you're all together in this small country with the same surroundings, the same amount of pay to spend, and the same sort of places to spend it. And we're all here as soldiers. Everything we do as American soldiers. Not Negroes and white men, rich or poor, but as American soldiers.
Where is it? Okay, yeah. So I was trying to actually listen to that as well as download, so I couldn't find it, which is annoying. Yeah, so that was just a video of training American soldiers not to mistreat black people, just to show you, like, you know, how systematic things were. They had to literally make videos of so many things and books and stuff, how not to do certain things because it was a normal thing. That was interesting. All right, so is there any other video I might want to play before we start the show? I was going to play the Nigerian Christian campaign with Nicki Minaj and people's thoughts on it, but I don't think I'll play it. I can't really break it down at the moment.
In world.
So, well, is that all I've got? My podcast. Okay, I think that's it, to be honest. What's this pro? All right, cool. Okay, what I'll do now, let me start with I'll start with, but because you have one so much longer, I'll start with the supporting of the boycott stuff. So let me just see any of the update videos of what the sister was doing with the whole boycott thing she's trying to do, and there was a segue I wanted to do, but I haven't got that thing. But not to worry, let's see what we got. Not that one. Asian, let's see this. So this is some Asians responding to the sister's boycott.
Do we boycott Asian shops? And then every one of them said yes.
Why are black people boycotting South Asian businesses?
Hi, my name is Fahim. I'm a 21-year-old.
Boycott, not the black people. I'm not boycotting Asian. The sister tried to work for her reasons of her campaign, but that's not what's happening.
University student trying to run a business at my mom's kitchen. I'm a South Asian Muslim, and the other day I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw a video about a black woman boycotting South Asian businesses. As small businesses, we should be uniting together to fight.
What's interesting though is how no Asian, South Asia never actually tried to address some of the challenges, the claims made. And that's important. It's just get along and stuff. But there was actually claims made, regardless of where they came from or why they came from. There were certain claims. So it'd be good to attack those.
Fight the media and do our best to create and sell products that are made with love and passion. I was born this way. God chose me to be this way. So why should I be penalized as a business just because of...
Another thing, whenever we talk to other groups, when they start talking about they're born this way and this kind of stuff, they're not addressing the issue. There's two things. One issue is communities look out for themselves, which other communities really well, including the South Asians. And then there's mistreatment. So you got to be very careful when people are not talking about mistreatment or how other people connect with each other. But maybe this gentleman doesn't understand
my skin color or background. It doesn't matter whether you're white, black, Asian, yellow. We're all human and we all have the right to do what we want in this world. Seeing stuff like this online creates so much anxiety for people like me who are just starting out. It makes us feel ostracized before we even get a chance. Like no matter how hard we work, some people will already have made their minds up. It knocks your confidence to sell, to speak up, and to show what you've built with love. With everything going on in the UK and across the world right now, is there really a need for our own ethnic communities to be fighting against each other?
Right, so that's what he's posted. So it's very good to understand the arguments before you make the videos, but that's what he posted. Let's see the other ones. Any others? Asian cake.
I asked the third guy.
There's an Asian lady. This is what she's posted.
There is this video going around of this woman who says she was racially attacked by a Afro-Caribbean man. Apparently, this man punched her in the ribs, called her the P word, and then ran off. Now, on your first initial thought, you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, that's really dread. Like, how can that happen? But then when you look closer, in her comments, she's liking up comments like this. We can all thank Elaine the Pain for stirring up hatred. And she's liking up more comments talking about, You know, can't believe no one defended you. I'm so sorry, sister. This is all due to Elaine the Pain, the Afro-Caribbean racist. These people are disgusting. Now it's got me questioning your story, because what is your motive? And then when you were questioned about it, about how do you know if he's Caribbean as opposed to African, she then states, I was advised to use the term Afro-Caribbean as listed on the Metropolitan Police website, as it refers to someone being black. I'm just not comfortable describing anyone as black. Listen, let me tell you Bumberhole something, and let me make it crystal motherfucking clear to you. I am not responsible for no attacks. I'm responsible for what Elaine does and what comes out of Elaine's mouth. I haven't been racist. I've only exposed your community and exposed the truth. Now you guys can't take it and you're creating stories and all of these sorts of things. Don't fuck with me. As
Sorry for the
I
language.
said before, white people are on your head top. You do not want black people on your head top as well. Don't write a motherfucking race war check that your ass can't cash. Because trust me, we've been doing this a lot longer than you have. I don't want a race war. But don't you motherfucker
Yeah, sorry about the language. This is one of the issues, I would say.
up here and try to blame me for another woman being attacked. Allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know. So we're just playing what this is saying. And maybe people are making up things, maybe not. I don't know. What's the last one? Sorry about the language. Yeah, I really wish the brother sisters, if they're going to make community stuff too. But then this is how to get the clicks into their personality. Not that sports kind of stuff. Where is it? Boycott Asian. Is it this one? Oh, what's it? And this is the last one before we jump to another topic. This is an update of this campaign for sister.
Around people, because I'm about to upset the economy. These are the rules, and I need everyone in on this. Not just the TikTok warriors. I'm talking about WhatsApp University. The aunties, the uncles, the elders, the executive board of family broadcasts. Because once they get involved, the movement is done. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Rule number 1. Buy black first. If you need something from Tesco, Aldi, Sainsbury's, M&S, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, stop and ask yourself, is there a black-owned business that sells this? Yes or no? Because every pound is a soldier. And right now, your soldiers are fighting for corporations that don't even know your name. Bring your money home. We're building Wakanda, not funding packs. Rule number 2, search before you settle. If you can't find it physically, go online. Instagram, Google, black directories, TikTok shops. Don't be lazy with the liberation. If you can search for 45 minutes for a Wiggly review, you can do a 10-second search to see whether or not it is black owned. Rule number 3, supermarkets are the last resort. If and only if there are no black alternatives, then yes, you can use a supermarket. But that is your last stop. Only spend with them until we have the infrastructure, systems, and networks to be self-sufficient as a community of our own. Now listen, send this to your aunties and uncles, because WhatsApp is where the revolution lives. TikTok is known for vibes, Instagram is known for aesthetics, but WhatsApp is where the aunties form committees, yeah? Launch investigations and shut down high streets with a forward message. If auntie sees buy black first, then the next thing you know, the whole community is on board. Your uncle is printing flyers. Your mum has started a WhatsApp group called Black Pound Patrol. This movement isn't isolation, it's insulation. The community, circulate the bag, wake up the aunties and activate the uncles. And stop funding people who wouldn't give you 50p in a crisis. Like, share, and post this in your WhatsApp group. I'll also post a clearer picture of the rules on my Instagram.
All right, family.
Let's get to work.
That's what the sister's saying. Sorry, I wasn't even listening to her. I was trying to find this video. And as I found it, every single thing has been shut down. So that's not cool. But yeah, so remember we're highlighting the concept of black people really focusing on buying black stuff, and sometimes whoever started the conversation is could jump there. Now, luckily, I actually found this video, so I'm gonna download. How long does it take to download? It says 30 seconds. That's good stuff. So we can wait 30 seconds. So basically, and this is going to segue into the other video as well. So yeah, you should do, because you know how everything's always connected. So basically, this is there's a sister, and this is from a page that we really want to support. She's doing good work. I think she's based. I wouldn't say Birmingham. Could be wrong. I'm thinking it's Birmingham. And here we go. I can now put that in. Give me 7 seconds to move things across. And this was what there is the download is here. Excellent. So this is very important. Sister done stuff, but I want to highlight everything we discussed was public, so it isn't private or anything. But open. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. So this is what the sister's saying. I'll unpack.
Community boycott South Asian businesses. Now, this conversation has been going around, and I wanted to add my perspective, because I do feel like there are a small minority of Black influencers that seem to be speaking for the entire Black community. I think a lot of social media personalities tend to use social media outrage to gain traction, to gain engagement on their pages. Just want to wind people up. And the reason why I say that is because most of these people aren't doing anything for Black people. What I've kind of noticed with the Black community in the UK is a lot of the times we center other groups. We don't have to talk about or bring down other groups in order for us to create an ecosystem, to create infrastructure in our communities. We can just do it. It's one thing for West Indian and African communities to buy their products from their own people. That's absolutely fine. That's not a revolutionary idea. It's not a new idea. But this blanket statement that we should just boycott South Asian communities is very ignorant. Why? Because we can't have this transactional relationship with the South Asian community when we are completely dependent on them for so many of our services. And I'm talking about when it comes to healthcare, our doctors, our dentists, our nurses, our logistics, postal services, the financial sector. Now, are there groups who benefit from the sacrifices made by Black people without reinvesting into our communities? Absolutely. But that's on us. We need to create infrastructure in our community so that we're self-sufficient. I definitely acknowledge there is a high level of anti-Blackness that's prevalent in South Asian communities, particularly amongst the older generation. And it's really prevalent amongst all racial groups. Ultimately, we are fighting systems. We're not fighting individual people or entire groups. This smear campaign against all South Asians and all South Asian businesses, in my opinion, it's the wrong thing to do. Those South Asian businesses that have no interest in the welfare of Black people, we don't go there. Let's talk about some of these myths that South Asian people came to this country and just walked straight into jobs and straight into homes. It's just not true. You know, in the 70s, the South Asian community came to this country and the Home Office would conduct virginity tests on South Asian women to make sure that they were, because they didn't believe that they were coming here to get married. The first person to get a job after the Bristol bus boycotts and the Equality Act came in was a South Asian man, because they were experiencing the colour bar. My point is, social media has its way of distracting us from the real aims and goals, pulling us into unnecessary divides that doesn't really have any benefits on us.
So I'll post the sister's page, the bhss.org page. As comments, it's true we shouldn't send to others, but without Elaine say how it is, the message, I don't think the message would have gotten this far. This is why we say discernment is a is a value, right? So, and this is what we're saying, like, and this sister, her stuff amazing, and everything she said in this video, I co-sign and agree. Is at the most pro-black people, if not all, will approach it from this way, and most of the pro-black people we listen to, I say the same thing, and I'm no different. However, there is understanding that the strategies of the pro-black community is never going to be as effective as a strategy as the universal black community because of how clickbait works and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not I say I support it, but the idea is to take the good intentions of our brothers and sisters and then try to guide it in a more constructive way. Remember, there's always going to be people who do things in a complete way or a casual way. So pro-blackness is a complete package, right? While what this sister does with her, with her style of boycott or whatever, that's more of a casual thing. She understands that she's been harmed in some way. She's seen a systematic or more of a collective pattern of doing it, and her thing is to highlight. Now, I think in all things, black people should be centered in all wording, and unless you have like a collection of actual claims that of actions that's happening that you can pull from, I wouldn't use terms of boycott, this kind of stuff. But once again, describing these things these ways is probably why we're even talking about it. But so big up the sister, follow her page. She's very, very intelligent sister. She does very good work, and I have tried to reach out to her, but I think our paths will cross somewhere. I will probably meet at an event or something. Her and her whole team, whatever. But we just support anything she's doing. But the reason I say is because part of this show, actually, if I can remember, whatever I write, and this is peacekeepers versus So peacekeepers is the idea. So the sister made this video, and the Elaine the Plain sister is a very she jumps on things straight away and was making comments in that video and stuff. And this I'll read out the stuff that transpired. I found it here. I suppose I found it wherever. And I was in there wherever. So I wrote I agree with the statements. Finding a way to use this energy to make black people's value collective economics is key. We can correct the social community for going down this direction, but because their shock strategies will always get ideas in households quicker than conscious strategies, they still add a kind of value, just needs to be redirected. So that's me saying, let's not be too harsh on the brothers who are finding a form of consciousness, and sisters, or in more cases sisters, because they're doing things in their kind of universal online mode, and we can always help guide it, but we don't want to be disparaging, but we can always give guidance, which I think the sister did really well here anyway, right? But then she came in, the sister here, and said, and then she might be correct, and this is an experienced woman talking, and I can't see flaw in the error. She says, it doesn't last long, though, because it was birthed from manipulation and clout. What we do needs to come from rationale, logic, love for each other, vision, purpose, and real leadership. Now, I'm not going to say that the sister isn't doing things from those same things. What I do know is a lot of the black people here and around the world who are very social savvy, they're automatically gathered by clicks anyway. So everything to do is clicks. And unfortunately, whether it's right or wrong or right, if we can ride that wave to get those people to do constructive things, so be it, really. But it's hard for me to say whether some, but I suspect all that is their kind of rationale, really. Anyway, so he goes on to say, what have any of these black? Okay, now this is where I'm saying the whole peacekeepers thing, right? Here's where it comes. So she's saying, what has any of these black influencers done to create infrastructure that black Brits need to be self-sufficient? The woman who started this, and this is where I sister, I don't recommend we go down this path. And the sister did, and we can always have a constructive conversation about why. But the sister says the woman who started this was wearing weave, likely made from a South Asian hair. At the very root, that's double meaning. She can't even demonstrate pro-blackness or being pro-black, right? Hypothetically speaking, I'm genuinely interested in your suggestions, right? It's day one. So from today, we're only using black doctors, black postal services, black taxi drivers, black accountants. There's 2.5 billion black people in the UK. There's probably about 100 of those services that are black owned at the max. What do you tell the black woman whose child has an illness, sepsis, and needs to see one of the 10 black doctors that's in the country? I'd like to think there's more than that, but maybe she's correct. So she said that. I thought, no, I understand motivation. Well done to the sister, but I think the tone and delivery, especially the whole weave stuff, but maybe she's got motivation. Her being a woman probably might be, more right to do that. But I'm not too sure. Someone's jumped in, but I'll ignore that. And then I think I think maybe someone said Dr. Dent Uber. Someone might have said something, but she says it's not hostile or personal. I'm critiquing. We have to know the differences. I'm not belittling her for wearing weave. She said boycott Asian businesses. That includes the majority of the services we use. The truth is, she won't do that. She's just saying that online, but behind closed doors, she will be using their services. Now, that might be correct or not correct, but I don't know if, we definitely, I'm not, look, there is a behavioral pattern that the casual black, pro-black person uses, the average everyday black person, whatever, right? But I don't think we should try to put that on them, even if it is correct. And this, a lot of people whose pages are not about pro-blackness, it is a topic of the week, right? But it is a valuable topic, and if we can use that to help motivate, I suggest we do. So that's just me talking. Let's carry on reading. The truth is, saying online behind closed door. There we go. The host on the podcast said we don't need to boycott, just buy black, and she said no, we specifically need to boycott. You don't get to pick and choose. If you're boycotting Asian businesses, then boycott your wigs and postal service. Yet there is sitting there with a head full of South Asian hair weave. This is just a ridiculous statement with no logic behind it. At least follow someone who is serious. She can't even demonstrate problem with her hair. Now, I'm not saying what this sister here is saying is not correct, but I would say that for her sister, I would say she is someone who's practicing a complete form of black betterment. She obviously has knowledge. And when someone like her talks to someone who is entering that kind of world or entering elements of that world, I think there is a kindness of delivery, even if what she perceives to be true is actually true, right? And I would say that, there is a value in some of these average, everyday, normal black people who don't normally tamper into pro-blackness, doing constructive work that you can utilize. And hopefully through it, there can be a lesson learned where they can find a way to consistently do behaviors that benefit. The thing with pro-blackness is there's so many elements of awareness that when someone decides to do it, they might realize that just by definition they're out of pro-blackness, right? Who they, what they do, who they marry, what they eat, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. So I think just be aware of your surroundings where we are. But that's just me reading. Let's see what else. And then the sister, this Elaine the Pain jumped in, and I was trying to be real respectful, but don't get beside yourself claiming to know what I am not doing. If you knew everything about hair, you'll know there are more countries that sell hair, not just Indian. But your ignorance precedes you, and that's why you're fighting for your life in these comments. You said it wasn't personal, then proceed to claim no, then to claim know what services I'm using and what hair I'm wearing, kinky and so forth. Which is exactly what a self-hating person does when they want to chop down another person in their comments who is on the right path. Now, you look silly. You're making up false statements about me. Have little grace and get your own agenda sorted and help flip-flop over the place. Maybe then people will actually listen to you. Now, the reason I'm jumping is because the concept is the peacekeepers, right? And I'm saying that if we can speak to each other in a way where it doesn't get there, and we're gonna jump from other topics here to demonstrate this as well, of how to talk to black people and stuff, so it doesn't become like a personal thing. And I think I jumped in at some point. I think the sister says I don't even take you seriously, and she didn't. But then I was like, family, we shouldn't drag people into personal life ideologies. Remember, betterment can be done in a complete or casual way. Not all members of the community uphold some of the very strict ways. This sister's behaviors are important. She is getting the community to think about group economics. We just need to help with a way to better communicate the ideas of to a big audience. That's me typing. Right, and then I said, and then I went on to say, very true, very true. The words you have written are very true. We can help redirect the sister's strategies without disconnecting from them. She said she is not a leader, just a caring member of the community. This page does great work, and the idea the sister is doing is also important, no matter the motivations. Right. So yeah, that's me trying to be the peacekeeper, but I recommend we all uphold those principles. And this is not me talking direct to the sister here from the the BSHSS. But when I started, with the friends trying to do the Black Betterment work in the past, one of the motivations was being very aware that there was a small community of pro-Black people who were extremely amazing and dedicated, but they had two challenges. One, they would disconnect from people who were just not serious, which I fully get that, but generally the whole of Black society, which I see a logic in, and we should do that to an extent. But one, and two, what was the two? Two was very important. Two was the actual general skill set that Black people tend to have. Not this sister or anyone else, but you tend to find that many conscious Black people, there is a percentage of those who went through a life of destruction and realized that a way to better themselves is to be community led. But unfortunately, a lot of these brown sisters, they have the consistent skill sets or lack of skill sets, right? So that means the Black community, even though they can be full of knowledge and constructive paths, whatever, they don't have the technicality to actually be able to do certain skills that might be beneficial. However, the average everyday Black person does. So that's why I try to have an open net to try to get as many constructive or talented Black people to at the very least do one thing consistently. And that's why we break down what Black Betterment is. Black Betterment, there's two types, right? There's the casual and the complete. The complete, you're going to be constructive, you're going to marry a Black person, you're going to start a Black business, or you're going to strive to do that. You're going to try to promote Blackness and all that good stuff in every area of people activity. And then you have the casual, where a Black person, oh, what's going on here? These guys are doing some good Black stuff. Oh, let me do, like I said, I remember I was, in Speaker's Corner, and a Black man came over with his hands around a European woman, and he's, oh, what's going on here? Clearly, that everything I say will probably shock him, just by that kind of persona, right? So what you would do is you would just let them know that the complete rules that we recommend Black people go down, but there are one or two things you can do, and the reason I'm saying that is because this Elaine the Pain sister, well, even though she might be effing and blinding every 5 seconds, which I don't recommend, and wearing Tommy Hilfiger and these kind of hairstyles, which some people might not agree with, I don't know. But if she does one good thing, that is promote Black economics, and then starts promoting that is very valuable. And that means even though she might not be a complete pro-Black person, a complete Black betterer, or a Black betterment builder, or whatever, right? She is a casual Black betterer. Well, no, you can't be a Black betterer. You are a casual pro-Black person, whatever, right? Or a casual person who practices Black betterment. So you're practicing the casual version because you're doing one thing consistently, and that's all Black Betterment asks for you when you're doing a casual thing. Unless you're going to be of the high echelon of elite people doing the whole life, but that's actually a small number and very hard to do. Very hard to do, really. Very hard. So that's just me waffling there. So big up the sister there, and hopefully we can reach out and have a discussion. Who knows? I'll let them both know. If they ever want to sit down between them two and have a talk, I'm happy to sit down and try to find solutions, as we should all try to do. But we can now segue this into the other topic, and that is let me get rid of this. So it's the same thing. You're gonna like the way how I just connect things together, because that's the skill set we have. Get rid of that, please. Yeah, remove that from the thing. So yeah, so where's this thing, man? There we go. Yeah, so peacekeepers versus race defenders. We're still gonna move on that. So we were talking about which one should I approach? So in America, there's certain groups that come from the kind of like conscious community, like the new wave, not the old wave, because this new wave they F and blind, and they're very click, a lot of them very click central, just like here, I guess, right? But they have, I guess, casual understanding of many Black Betterment stuff or pro-Black stuff. But we mentioned a guy called Tariq Nasheed who did very good documentaries for years back and still does, I think. And then there's a Hebrew brother who's just very well spoken, very aggressive when it comes to debating tactics, but very calm and collective. But he was they were kind of friends, I guess, whatever. But this is happening in real time between them, and we're gonna. So for those of the Tariq Nasheed brother, he's the one who's spearheading the concept of calling African Americans foundational Black Americans for delineation purposes and reparation purposes. And the other brother is a Hebrew. I think he calls Black people Hebrews. But beside that, they get on. They did get on with it. But we're just using this case study at the moment. So I think this was. Let's say if he swears, I'm sorry.
Well, Tariq Nasheed is apparently subliminally talking about me because he's too vagina to say my name directly. So I'm the person that he's trying to call COINTELPRO XYZ because I text and asked him if a man pretending to be a woman that's calling himself the queen of the FBA was something that they represented. And then he gets mad at me for asking him, and I'm only asking him because he's the quote unquote head, especially on Twitter Spaces. So I figure I go to the source because we had a relationship, and instead of him respecting it, he calls me agent, talks about me subliminally. That shit don't really matter. What's diabolical though is that straight men who's supposed to be about foundational black people would allow a gay man to represent himself as the queen of your so-called movement. What's worse, asking if it's true or letting some gay man troll you to being that? A gay man could never troll the Israelite movement, and we accept it, and we think it's funny, and we think it's cute. We would never do that. But the FBA apparently will let a gay man or a trans man troll them. So whose vagina?
Yeah, so pay small stuff, but just case study purposes. So what there is I think there's a trans individual who trolls people when, you know, whatever, who jumps on these lives and talks whatever. But I love him to death, but he's using Tariq's for numbers. Tariq is a comedy and serious at the same time. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because remember now this world of internet and tech, who knows why people do what they do, or you know, whatever. But so yeah, so one would assume that the way people act in this world is once people's names get called out and once subliminals gets redirected or whatever it is, people start dissing each other, and that's why you find most of the, I guess, the new wave of conscious people in America and here, but America's got more of a prominent scene, whatever, end up fighting each other. And what I'm saying, this is typical, as in fighting each other, right? And that's why your peacekeeping and approach is the best way to do things. Let's see another video of where this is coming from, just so we get a better context of this. It might be this. Hold on.
You know, the video here yet, but
It's she.
Yes,
And let's be very clear. In the hierarchy of FBA, I'm second in command. There's Tariq Nasheed at the top.
Now I'm aware that Tariq, his whole thing is comedy or trolling or whatever he does, and a lot of the videos he posts will be mocking other people because I guess that gets the best click rate, whatever, right? But this is a person who jumps on his show and they troll each other, whatever. I don't know, to continue that trolling, she jump on other people's thing and claiming to represent a hierarchy in a word that's meant to describe an ethnic group, I guess. I don't know. But obviously this is now pause. Are you from, I'm not from America. No. I'm from can you not hear the accent? You might not be able to hear it. No, I'm based in the UK, Afro-Caribbean background. Right. But we're using this as a case study. Yeah, so that's what the you're talking to in the group? Sorry. Okay, right. Yeah, sorry, people could go from one in the actual group. Go ahead, talk about yourselves. Says Karen, listen.
And then it's me, T.S. Giselle.
Can I ask you a question, ma'am?
The first lady of FBA, Mr.
Right, there was some, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It was kind of LGB stuff, whatever. But yeah, this is what's called now. This is just early on. Things can be brushed off, but we're trying to, you know, I'm saying that when you go in, this is going to segue to our other thing, and then it's going to segue to something else. So we play one more of this.
I'm gonna be real brief.
Nope, it's not that one. This all segues into this situation. Where is it? Is it that one? No, I should play that one before. Yeah, this one. So this is a very, and we're going to segue again into something else. But this is This is Small, James Small, very, very good scholar, very, very good spoken brother. We're going to also segue from a UK thing from this as well. But he's close to Tariq Nasheed because I think a lot of people know him through the DVDs and this kind of stuff. I think like I said, online there's a lot of squabbling and people saying this, that, the third. So he's obviously getting drawn into it, and he's seeing Africans or whoever, Caribbeans, being dissed and dissing back, and they're using the term FBA. So now, whatever motivation is there, there's going to be a segment of the internet people just love trolling and fighting each other, and he's made these statements.
I'm not FBA. Do not support them or their concept or their attack against African peoples or the attack against Pan-Africanism, which shows a lot of ignorance and misunderstanding. I'm an African. And if someone wants to clip that little 2 minutes to try to create a critical negative, let those same person look at the other 100 plus videos that I have on the YouTube. And there's a couple of thousand more videos if you want to really go looking, and you will find they're 100% pro-African, pro-freedom, pro-identity, pro-Pan-Africanism.
Professor James Small is attacking it with discipline, precision.
Right. So, yeah, so this brother's and many and all the scholars before about Pan-Africanists, and I think because of the certain scenarios in America, this is now used as a buzzword to cause as in like we want to focus here. Now, two things can be right at the same time. People can have different ideologies. That is fine. But what I would say is, because the brother is a legend, and I'm seeing this is not happening yet, but we're just predicting whatever. To then go into disrespect mode because he might have a different ideology or a continuing ideology that everyone has now changed. This is something that we have to think about. I always think part of the coach should always be, how do you respect elders, and how do you have a constructive discussion? That's one thing I don't really see, and that's what I was trying to do with these sisters here, where Black people who have ideologies don't actually sit down and go, let's talk to find out what we agree with. I think maybe there's a value in clickbait arguments. So if that's the case, forgive me because I'm not a part of that world, and maybe there's a value in it. But if someone, and I think the Hebrew brother, he says he tried to reach out and maybe he didn't get back. I don't know. But I think that just as before people get into name calling and anger, trying to actually have a conversation is key, and trying to keep things off the internet. Once again, I'm saying things from a Black Betterment standpoint. If people do things for clicks and stuff, then so be it. That's the culture. I don't know anything about that, right? FBA ADOS have the right to self-define based on their experience in the slave ship. The problem is when they become violent and force other ethnic groups to pass anti-hate crime bills. Well, yeah, every person has a right to define what they want and to do their own destiny, right? And that's fine. And that's good. I respect that. And a lot of the complaints that the brothers are going to have for them is, it's true. We can unpack that. And that we're going to actually go to another thing to do that, or to see that, right? And that's why being a peacekeeper and having open conversations, and also, collective progressional strategies. Like, here's where we want to get, here's where we don't want to get, right? What I'll do is I'll play, because it's a good segue, because there's two African brothers based in the UK. They placed a very strict thing he did, and they gave their thing on it. Oh, where is it? I think this one. Yeah, this is this one. Big up these brothers.
In Africa, you got the African Day Parade. You don't see the Africans. You got the festival that be going on in Brooklyn. The band festival, the African festival. Where's the Africans at? When we doing our rallies and our marches, where's the Africans at on your side? Talk to us really about that, man.
See, let me tell you something. We think slavery in America was something. Slavery in Africa is still in force. You talking about deaf, blind, and dumb. Don't confuse you because somebody got on some printed cloth that's printed in Holland or India that you're looking at an African cultural expression. That's not an African cultural expression. That cloth was printed in a European country and then sold to Africans. And they've accepted that as their cloth. You understand what I'm saying? Just that piece. Now, they do speak the language, but they know less about their history than you and I do. So you've got a deaf, blind, dumb, backwards person speaking an African language, coming from the African country, came here to be a parasite on their own people, with no respect for themselves as human beings, and then because they speak a language, try to play you off like they got something culturally that you don't have. The most culturally enforced African in the world is the African American. Most of the movements that have changed the world, that allow all ethnic nations to profit, has been our movement. And so we get peed on and played down because these people are so punked out and scared of the white man that they feel because they're scared of the white man, they got to be against us.
Are they our people, brother, or are we our own people now?
No, we got to understand two things. We have a race and then we have an ethnic place. Ethnically, we African Americans. Just like a guy from Africa, he can say he's African, but there's no country called African. He's either Nigerian, Ghanaian, Malian, or something. That's his ethnic nation. Racially, we are together, but economically, we may well be enemies. And we have to be clear on that. That our economic enemy is just that. And if you deal with your economic enemy like it's your friend, you're going to be the loser at the end of the day. Now, we raised the question of Pan-Africanism in this hemisphere. You know, we had the brothers from Trinidad, and then you had W.B. Du Bois, and we created this phenomena. But Africa has never created a Pan-African movement. You understand? Africa has never really supported a Pan-African movement. We had a couple of people in Nkrumah and Julius Nyerere and Mugabe, but most of Africa never gave a damn about a Pan-Africanism because they're still bogged down in the colonial slavery of European Judeo-Christian indoctrination, which is worse than anything that we've suffered. Worse than anything that we've suffered. The illusion of the clothes and the language make us think we're dealing with somebody that has some African purity culturally and spiritually. You're dealing with a confused, backwards Christian that love Europe more than they love their own ancestors. They would not even use an African word for God. You know, in Ghana, if you talk about being a traditional African, you might get beat down in the street. You understand? You're ostracized on the radio. Movies are made to show African culture as being the devil, while Christian culture is coming in as the savior. This is TV shows and on TV in Nigeria and Ghana every day.
Let's see what the Afro-British based brothers say about this.
Deep is the abyss. Deep. You know, there's one bit here where you said you see the African with the African cloth print, but it was chosen by Europeans. You know, when I first watched that video years ago,
by India and
no, not India, Indonesia.
Indonesia.
It's Indonesian. Now, when I first saw that video years ago, that went over my head because I never knew about that. When I found out about a year ago, I was doing some research and I discovered those prints are Indonesian. That's their cultural thing, right? And when the Europeans tried to sell it to themselves back in England and Europe, or Europe in general, it wasn't selling. So they brought it to Africa, their colonies in Africa, and we lapped it up. So that culture itself is Indonesian. We just took it because we're influenced by colonial masters, bro. I never knew that, bro. Never ever knew that. So that went over my head. But another bit he said about Pan-African movement was created in that region. Obviously, we know the father of Pan-Africanism, Marcus Garvey, so we know it's a Jamaican thing, but obviously what he's saying is true. That's still South America. That's the Americas in general, you know what I'm trying to say. Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of what you said, as a Ghanaian, you're Nigerian, I'm Ghanaian, a lot of what you said, I don't even want to argue, bro.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. When I was listening to him talk, like, I didn't like it. The first time I heard it, I didn't like it because, you know what I'm saying, he was speaking the truth, and you know the truth hurts and stuff. It touched me on the left side of the chest, just right here. Just right there, yeah? It proper touched me. And I realized, it's touching me because it hit home and them things there. What he's saying, I'm not going to lie, he spoke a lot of truth there. He spoke a lot of truths. Like, I don't even know where to start. He spoke because, put it this way, yeah? The whole Black history, the slavery thing, even the history of like Nigeria and all that stuff. And for example, a lot of Nigerians know that they got their independence in 1960, 1st of October, whatever. But a lot of people we never learned history in school. We don't know the history behind that. We don't know if there was bloodshed or the wars behind that. We were never taught that. So I speak for Nigeria. I don't know what the rest of Africa is and what the school curriculum is and stuff, yeah? But in what I learned there in school growing up, we were taught nothing about our history, the foundations, the forefathers, ancestors, nothing.
Garvey's not the father. Okay, there are Pan-Africans before Garvey. I think Garvey was just one of the key to spread it, especially in the Americas. But there was people. There was Henry Sylvester Williams. That was quite. And there was what's the brother's name? The first guy from America. There was a brother from America. Martin Delaney. Yeah, Martin Delaney. What date was Martin Delaney? Because he was actually one of the soldiers, wasn't he? Martin Delaney was. Martin Delaney was before that. So Martin Robertson Delaney, he might have been one of the first with the concept of. Well, there's obviously people here and there, but generally this is what what it's collated to. So let me put his link in there. I don't like this button, man. There's a button called help, right? And I can't get rid of it. No, I'm typing. No, can you just why can't it go? Like, where is this coming from? It's stuck to the screen. It's such a bad design. Sorry about this, guys. I'm trying to post something, right? And there's a button that just says help. And the button is blocking me from the send button. So the button they've made to help is destroying the send. It's anyway, that's me complaining because I enjoy doing it. Anyway, so so the Pan-Africanism is there's a huge but if you go into Wikipedia, whatever it is, you're friendly, you click on Pan-Africanism, you'll get tons and tons and tons. But I think Martin Delaney might have been the earliest. But there was a few, but obviously Marcus Garvey was one of the biggest and very well-respected brother, and we should always promote that. But anyway, what else was there? African blacks hate Africans more than this term of hating that like I said about peacekeepers and way to live things, right? Unless we're trying to make a case study presentation or whatever, but generally African Americans are leaders in Pan-African thought. So to say African Americans hate Africans, that doesn't really correlate when the majority of Pan-Africans that we study today are from America, right? But yes, there is ignorance that goes throughout on both sides, right? Question. Yeah. So remember, how we word things is important, and also. And I think these brothers actually tried to unpack that. Let's listen to them because they say a few things that's quite important to know.
It was literally I was taught English. I could have, when I came to this country, I was speaking English better than the man in this country and things there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just literally the basic stuff, English, maths, and all that. Not like the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not only till I got to this country where I started really learning real history, not the King Henry version they're teaching us in school. Them ones there. The real history about my people and them things there. Most of the stuff I learned was from the FBAs, we call them now, the African Americans watching the TV shows and certain things they said, even from like flipping stand-up show back in the days, Richard Pryor, flipping Eddie Murphy. They used to say certain things from rap music, Tupac, Alex, all these things. They used to say certain things, and I'm someone who if I don't know something straight away, you could say a word right now. If I don't know it, I'll go to thesaurus, dictionary. I want to learn straight away. So from basically adopting this culture growing up, because whether we like to admit or not, we live in England, but most of our cultures, especially the Black British people, most of our culture is from America.
Yeah.
From America.
Yeah.
There's much culture from America. There's also Caribbean as well, but the America plays a big influence.
Yeah.
Whether we like to admit it or not, and them things there. So it's because we've adopted this culture that's allowed me to learn. But when I was in Africa, I knew nothing. Like absolutely nothing. I didn't know. But I didn't even really know about slavery that much. And my level of schooling in Africa before I came here was like, bro, I was like literally a year or two away from university, put it that way. You know them ones there?
Yeah.
But I was at a mad young age.
Yeah.
And when I came here, in this country, they do it by ages. So they pull you back to whatever age you are. And that's what year they put you in and them things there. Whereas in Nigeria, it's done by abilities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
it's deep what you said about not learning history in school in Nigeria. I schooled in Ghana and we never learned no history. I didn't even know who Yaa Santua was, and I'm a Ghanaian. I didn't know who Yaa Santua. They didn't tell us in school, bro. They didn't tell us in school. I found out through African Americans, bro. The Nana of the Maroons. I didn't even know about the Maroons, bro. I didn't even know about the Nana of the Maroons. None of that stuff, bro. I found out from African Americans. I learned so much about history, my history as an African from African Americans, bro. So what he said, I couldn't even argue with it, bro. Do you know what it is? I don't know whether a good number was done on us by our colonial masters, or should I say former colonial masters. I don't know if a good number was done on us by them, to the point where we probably don't respect our history as much as we should, or maybe we're just naturally not inclined to
What are you talking
care
about in
history.
Africa?
In Africa in general, bro. I'll be honest
You know
with
what
you.
I think it is, yeah? Because everything that happened, Africa is like the you know when the crime happens, that's the that's the scene of the crime.
Yeah, the scene of the
You know
crime.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where everything happened, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
But the scene of the crime
And
is also the scene of the crime is also in
there's
America,
a lot of
though.
people feel like the scene of the crime.
So today's topic, we're talking about peacekeepers versus racist defenders. We're going to segue into racist defenders in a bit, but we're looking at talking about online, and we've done a quite a good jumpy kind of like segue, really good from the UK to America, but generally worldwide from just black people fighting. And this is pattern, it's an important pattern that we see, that whenever you see black people try to do something constructive and they form different organizations, you might find themselves at each other's throats. And it's trying to be aware of that I'm actually, someone's allegedly trying to do something good, and I'm trying to thwart them for whatever reason. And I've tried to use terms to undermine what they're doing. It's that also thing of like the whole like 100% or 0% kind of attitude where, you're good friends, whatever it is, we're trying to work towards a bridge, and then we break up. Now I'm going to try to blow up the bridge. It's that kind of thing. It's like, obviously we're in today's age of clickbait central, where, it's hard to know what makes people motivated. But generally, if the goal is for black people to progress, then we should try to minimize fighting. But then we're very prone to problems and prone to fighting, you see. And this is very normal. That's why being aware of this, you might be able to stop yourself from really crashing out online and arguing and trying to set up scenarios, whatever. So, and these brothers are props to these brothers, because they this show, I saw this recently with them. They're rethinking like how they might present certain things and the acceptance of truth that other communities have said, and that's growth, and that's where we want to be. So, we're going to find people from America, from Nigeria, from Jamaica, wherever it is, who have different views or different expressions. And if the goal is, for betterment and stuff, it's about how do we communicate with each other respectfully, and also when we see other groups infighting, how do we become the peacekeepers? I strongly recommend this. Yeah, and not everyone can get along, but one this is a challenge. I know I'm old school. I'm over the hill and far away. But this concept of not using foul language, I know, but we love it so much. We can't get enough of the foul language. I understand. But the thing is, when you're doing black community work and you're doing your Instagram and your videos and you're effing there, you're effing there, and then you're talking to someone, you're effing there and you're effing there, then, that then becomes a centerpiece, and what you're talking about is no longer important. And then I'm offended, you're offended. So if we can be respectful and no name calling in general, that will make life easier. But I understand you won't get the clicks. I'm sorry, because people like that kind of delivery and stuff. I understand. But this is just if you're trying to do black Betterment work, I would recommend it. But what do I know? What do I know? Let's listen to a bit, and we're going to segue to the final part of our show.
But people have moved on and stuff, yeah. But there's a lot of people still there, and they haven't really moved on at all.
I get what you're. I get the analogy you're trying to make, bro. I get the analogy you're trying to make, but the scene of the crime also happened in the Americas, though. They're still living in the scene of the crime. We're both still living in it.
I hear you, but no. Africa is there. Everyone, I hear you. It happened in America as well, but I'm talking about everyone got took from Africa, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The scene happened. So the point I'm trying to make is, all the people that's come up outside of Africa, they've got you got this ancestral tree thing where you got to search for your family tree and stuff, They've got the need to search because they know essentially the land they are is not theirs. Whereas in Africa, you don't know. You just think this is home. So there's no need.
I get it. And it's funny because there are some who will disagree because they believe that they were not taken as enslaved Africans. They were originally from the Americas.
So I understand the nuance of an argument, regardless of if you understand or agree with it or not. Many of these movements that's arguing, they're saying the multiple faceted things. Some are just saying nonsense, or fair enough, but what they're actually generally saying is as such, right? That Africans Americans are a multi-ethnic group that comes from enslaved people groups that were brought to the Americas, and then through being there and intermixing with other African groups and other non-African groups, have formed the ethnogenic new group known as African Americans, or descendants of slaves, or foundation of Black Americans. All these terms that people come up with, fantastic, right? That's one argument. Another argument is a connective argument is that in a historical time, there were black people who traveled there from, it might have been certain parts of Africa, it might have been certain parts of Australia, who knows, right? Where black people gone there and they were integrated, or they became part of whatever communities were there before, and that is a connection that they make, right? So they talk about that, and they're saying all those collective concepts and ideas or realities is the forming of a new ethnic group. And there's other stuff as well, whatever. But that's the argument they're saying. Some people are not necessarily saying they're not. Don't get me wrong. There are some people saying none of us are from Africa. None of us, we're all from Indians here, and all the Indians were one set black. And okay, cool. And maybe that's true. There is truth to that. There is black Indians, and that's documented, right? But all this is going on, as well as there's also the ancient old challenge of the ABA and the ABB, which is anything but black and anything but African. So that is also in there as well. So when you've got all those things, there are truth tellers and non-truth tellers, and people who are proud and people who are non-proud. You're going to have people always try to pick whichever argument they want to make. But either way, it's good not to tell people what you think they should be, what they shouldn't be. It's like, regardless of what you identify as, your reality hasn't changed now. So how can we work as a collective for betterment? And you have all the right as an ethnic group to work amongst ethnic issues. And my job as someone who's not within the ethnic group is to not sabotage it. That's another thing. Trying to sabotage progress in other groups isn't good. I also understand that a lot of these content makers make argument-based content which people like listen to, and then people come in, but this is not a representation of other groups. It's just the most ignorant people will always go to the front of the line to say ignorant things. I don't know. And black people were here before. Yes. And the army, that's what we say. Black people have traveled there before the transatlantic slave trade, and that is a part of a multi-traveling black narrative where all these histories are collated into one, and they are formed into what you call African Americans. And similar stories goes on in other parts of Afro-Jamaican, Afro-Peruvian, Chilean, and all this kind of stuff, right? It's a very, this is why when we talk about the 4 pillars of blackness, you have sub-Saharan Africans, and they're made up of sub-Saharan Africans who are made up of the ethnic groups in southern savannah, whatever, Africa or Afro-tropical, whatever. And then you have the ethnic groups made up in the Americas, which is diaspora Africa or Afro-diaspora, which is all the ethnic groups that make up that. And then from an ancient standpoint, which is, we don't really cover it too much, but ancient black travelers who traveled to the Asia and Pacific and retained their Africanity through their phenotype and was today called black. So they qualify to be registered black, and they were mistreated as black people. So when we practice black betterment, not that we see any of them in England too much, but they're always welcome to be, practice black betterment, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the 4th pillar, which is ethnic people who they identify through a black parent and a non-black parent, and we call them biracial or mixed black or all the other terms that come in. So these are the 4 pillars of blackness, and by having those pillars, it makes communication easy, because people, you're not black, he's not black, we're not black, but it's like we understand there's pillars of blackness for history and all that good stuff. All right, cool. So this is for a bit more, then we'll jump to the last segue.
Do you understand? So I guess, yeah. But let's talk about the ones who do know they have some lineage in Africa. They're the ones that you said obviously would naturally start.
They say we don't even. Yeah, I think people use Black American or African American, but you will know you're over in America. You never know what they use. But I think more so on a news standpoint, they say African American, but maybe you might say Black Americans, or you might be the new terms ADOS or Foundation or whatever it is that people are using. But you would know more because you're there.
And want to know what.
I wouldn't see this. This is important. I don't know where the brother's from, the Garveyite, but when you pretendians, and this is, I would normally ignore it, but it's important because we're learning. Name calling and stuff, and pretendians and identity crisis. This is not, even though you might want someone to identify as something you think for whatever reason, you have to. There's always that dual conundrum. There's always a dual conundrum, right? And the dual conundrum is, when a person exists, 2 people will come to them. One will say left, one will say right, and this is what when we talk to the biracial brothers and sisters, they'll come and say, "Oh, people says we're not black," or "Oh, people say you are black," and the same thing. "Oh, people say you're African," "Oh, people say you are African," or "People say you're not this," and this is the dual conundrum, isn't it? So what we say is, regardless of how a person identifies, we can all recognize they're part of a great collective of blackness or Africanity, whatever new term people want to use, right? And but in that process, we shouldn't try to indirectly belittle people's choices, whether it's right or wrong, and it's not for us to determine for them, right? Yeah. So, and what I'm saying is, the more a lot of people think that what I can do is I can cuss someone into accepting something. It doesn't really work that way. It doesn't really work that way. Trust me, I've seen it many times. It doesn't work that way. I think, I think constantly be constructive and allow people to self-determine is fine, and do not get in the business of divisions and groups that you're not really connected to, but offer a help or a solution, whatever, but don't try to be up in the party really dictating where things go. That doesn't make sense. I know this might be very hard to understand, but I can assure you, if people carry on this kind of like mini conflict kind of way of speaking, it just makes things harder. It does. And that's why I say, and I've been saying it since all this stuff happened for many, many years, there's two types of Africans. There's the Africans and the Afrikaans, whatever, right? There's two types of Afro-Americans or Black Americans or whatever, and that's the Africans, Afrikaans, blah, 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 right? There's those who are constructive and those who are not. And we don't want to paint the constructive ones with the same brush of the confused ones or the error-prone ones or whatever, right? There you go. The vast majority of Black Americans are legally Black via our legal American birth certificates. That's what people understand. Yes. That's what I'm saying, right? We understand that. Yeah, we understand that African American was a way to connect with the continent. Jesse Jackson and this kind of stuff. All the ancestors and the elders, for the most part, were correct in every activity that is talking about unifying the greater Black community. It's a genius idea, but it's an idea that actually takes work. And it's an idea that's easy to crumble. It's easy because all you need to do is a non-Black person step in there and just switch the wires, and Black people are just ready to destroy each other. It's the easiest thing you can do in this world is actually destroy Black people. There's no point in even giving people points for it because it's that easy. So knowing that, you have to have a counter code to minimize that. Like, if you don't believe me, just look at two Black people argue and see those same two Black people discuss whatever with a anti-Black person. Very different attitude. But you would think that maybe to the anti-Black person there'll be a bit more whatever it is. But no, Black people have been conditioned to hate Black people. And that's just, we know this. This is not rocket science. I'm not going to win an award for this statement. So I'm saying, if we know this, then you have to have a code of conduct of how you conduct yourself. This code, I'm telling you, do not dictate for other people, regardless of what people call themselves. They're still part of the great collective of whatever term, Black, African, or whatever you want to say. And and that's the science we're dealing with. All right. Yeah, and yeah, nobody in my family was ever African. We were colored. Yeah, these are legal terms, and sure, if that's, we understand legal terms, and that's why in our document we've got all those legal terms. We've got all of them. We've got colored, we've got Negro, we've got Black. We understand that, right? But we understand that the world has a way of identifying the Negro, the African, the Black, right? And they're all synonymous. And they've been synonymous for many years, and they've legalized those terms, and they've legalized those descriptions. We showed a video before we started, for those who don't know, about British white soldiers training American soldiers. When you come to England to fight against the Nazis, don't mistreat Black people because we've got a different thing going on here. And they had to have a video to teach them, like, you can't mistreat them, and you're going to see them in certain spaces where they're not in America because we have a different program here. Yeah, we don't let them kill Germans because we know that's wrong to kill white people, but we let them move the bodies, we let them eat in certain kind of places, but we blah blah blah. So the anti-Black racist understands how to to organize and get things done, whatever. So the descendants of the mistreated Black people should understand how to have strategies to get things done. Yes. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's just see how far I go. Then we're going to play 1 minute of this, and we'll jump to the final part of the show, which is segue this, but we're going to go back to England for this one.
Happened, but it's so deep and interesting that even before social media and the internet even existed, they had that much knowledge on Africa, bro. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That means these guys, they went out their way to, just what I'm trying to say, bro. So when you hear that stereotypical thing that black people don't read, that's nonsense, bro. These men went out their way to find out something that was deeply, deeply, deeply buried, bro.
You know, when I first started getting into this knowledge of black people, like obviously, like I said, the music and things like that, but it was also my Jamaican friend, his dad was a Rastafarian and them things there, and he used to.
So Rastafarianism, Nation of Islam, Pan-Africanism, these are ideologies that force you to constantly put blackness in the forefront, be educated, and do the research and reach back to find out how things work, how not to repeat things and all that kind of stuff, right? And that's why ideologies matter. Without an ideology, you will follow whatever the dominant society has out there, and they have anti-blackness. And that's why we promote the ideology of what? Black Betterment. There you go.
Spit knowledge, spit knowledge. He had bare books and all them things there, and it was from there you realize, like, even though he's Jamaican, he's like the way he's talking about Africa and all them things there. And
he might as well be. He might as well be from Nigeria.
There. Huh?
I said, you're thinking he might as well be from Nigeria.
Do you know what I'm saying? So from that, and then I used to go to like Nation of Islam meetings and all these things, and I started getting certain books, reading up on it, and then the rabbit hole was just getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it's a lot. It's a lot. It's still even as much as.
This is what we're saying with the sister. Like a lot of brothers and sisters who are just living their normal life, there's a lot they're not exposed to. So when they walk into the room and they try to do something, we mustn't be disparaging, even if their motivation has a clickbait kind of like alluringness to it, right? Because, like I said, so many people have not been brought around that knowledge, and when you live around that knowledge every day, it becomes you. But for someone who's not really there, it's all alien. So that's why I'm saying be respectful and be the peacemakers when people argue this kind of stuff.
A lot to learn.
Yeah, there's still more. There's still more I'm discovering.
Especially now we're having kids and stuff. I want to teach them a lot of stuff and that. But going back to this guy's point, a lot of what he said, like you said, going back to the African cloth, going back to he said when people come to America, the black people come to America, this is what I want to say, when black people come to America, they're like parasites. On their own people. And basically, that just speaks for even the recent event on the TikTok thing where people were trying to like boycott African stores and things like that. It's because I feel like, I don't know, do you know what? I'll be real, coming from like a Nigerian household,
it's very key.
I'm not gonna lie, my dad looked down on a lot of like non-African
people,
non-African black people.
So you find that hierarchy of, looking down on other non-African black people, but placing Europeans above, even though the Europeans were the ones who caused the reason why you find yourself in their country, right? And this is a normal thing. And the legacy of this behavior is why we're seeing these arguments of division now. And what you're seeing is the kickback of it, right? The kickback, because you can't have one group trying to unite and have solutions, and one group placing certain people below and above for whatever cultural reasons. And this is the kind of bigger discussion we have to have, like, what side of the fence are people going to sit on? Now, we understand that every ethnic group, every community has the rights and the wrongs, the lefts and the rights, right? So it's establishing which is which. But we don't necessarily want to paint every single person in a group as one, but we recognize that certain people have cultural norms that needs to be ironed out.
You know them ones there, whether it's whoever, the Americans, Jamaicans, whoever, obviously that was them when man was young. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, I have my own mind to be able to, like, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of Africans do, whether they stay in their homeland or whether they travel, they do look down on other black people. And it's a sad thing. Still.
Can I tell you from my perspective why I experienced that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember being a kid in Ghana watching movies, and these weren't black movies. They were movies made by white Hollywood, right? And the way they made African American people look in these movies, bro, imagine coming from a country where, like, we don't have that culture. So we're seeing the next black person's culture. And we're being told that they're called African Americans or they're called Black Americans or Negro or whatever it is, yeah?
Now, people might be very shocked by this, and we did a show about this before, but I think going back to America, I mean, we showed the video of where the UK is teaching white Americans not to mistreat black people the same way you mistreat black people in America. We mistreat them slightly different here, so you have to mistreat them at that kind of rate, right? But the mistreatment of non-white people in general, but black people particularly. So you will have cartoons, songs, and those kind of stuff, whether it was magazines, comics, whatever, depicting African Americans as Pekingese, buck tooth, and all this kind of stuff, whatever it is, right? And they also had the same for Africans. So the difference between the Africans and the African Americans would have been the African Americans would have wore dungarees, while the Africans would have wore bones in their nose, whatever. So this kind of stuff. So this is how they depicted black people generally. Like, regardless of where you're from, they recognize that you are not white and you identify as black, so you are worthy of mistreatment. And this didn't end as time went by. There was always some kind of racial element of how black people have been represented, and then when you feed these non-black controlled media, or sometimes black controlled media operating under like some kind of error-prone stimuli, whatever, to other black people, you then join the same kind of stereotypes that circulate. And that's why even into the Caribbeans or to the African Americans, they might look at Africa as a third world country, poor people, flies everywhere, bones in your nose, chasing people with space, I don't know, whatever, right? So this is what I'm saying. This is a continuous thing you have. That's why you need to kind of control your own media and have a respectful kind of approach to other ethnic groups, other black people, because you know that you have a common kind of challenge of propaganda that has been worked since enslavement times, and even before.
I remember like early 90s being old enough to sit with my dad watching certain movies, and they were always robbing people. They always had guns out shooting each other. I remember the Bloods and Crips culture, 92, 93, being a little kid, seeing the Bloods and Crips culture on TV and thinking, oh my God, like what the hell? You just see a man just pull up with a car. What up, and word, hey, bitch ass Nick, you know what I'm trying to say? Bro, I used to be like, whoa. A side of me was fascinated because it looked so cool.
Also, I was discussing it today, and it's something I might bring up, and there's a show I'm going to do next week, and maybe I'll bring it up, because I'm going to bring it up everywhere I go, and that is having the underbelly represent an ethnic group or a cultural group. This is a problem. It seems to be a planned problem where every ethnic group seems, especially when there's a melting pot of different ethnicities around, right? You have the underbelly of that society being the representation of that society in a mainstream presentation. This is error prone. The sister, I mean, it's probably a segue too early, but there's a sister who's gone to talk about the issues in Nigeria, and people saying she might not be the best person, and also she might be used as some kind of talking point, and also it might be an excuse for another kind of proxy thing. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's that. It's like you kind of want all political things and economic things and constructive things be represented by the correct, distinct groups in your community, so you don't end up painting these pictures of a false narrative that this brother seemed to have fallen for.
And the side of me was scared of them because it was like, damn. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, think of all that media that they pumped into Africa, yeah, to give us that
any problematic issues that is in Africa, we should always campaign to fix it. But that does not represent Nigeria as a whole or Nigerians to believe in certain things that are problematic.
Perception of what it's like for them over there. But then also you had those of us who were fully aware of it being nonsense because, like he mentioned in the video, you had a few people that were supporting the Pan-African movements, like Nkrumah, you know what I mean, Patrice Lumumba, you name it, yeah. Their voices weren't that loud. The media...
I'm going to stop there, big up the brothers. Good thing is go follow those brothers on the... Hold on, I can't even see that, man. Oh man, I had to think. Is it the Drizzy show or something like that? I want to say it's a Drizzy show. Shame on me for not knowing. I shouldn't remember. Anyway, we're now going to go to the final segue. We're still in the same thing of, so this is the point. This is the segue. We're saying peacekeepers versus racist offenders. So we're looking at the difference between a peacekeeper and a racist offender. And we're going to, Brother Jenna had a show, and he brought a rapper who I remember working with, hosting many years ago. Very, very good brother, creatively and this kind of stuff. But he might have fell for the racist offender without knowing. Oh dear. But let's see what we can see. So let's give you some context. Let me open the thing and drag it there. Where is it? Yeah. Video. Where are we? I think it's this one.
Oh, wait, energy, bro.
Remember, there's a context to it.
There's no context.
There is, bro.
There's no context to a white man talking about dumb Africans.
Listen. Let me show. When I said let it go, I wasn't talking about rear view mirror shit, bro. Just do not be offended. Why the fuck are you offended?
I feel like because it's in the past, I was bringing it up for Bants, but man wanted to do CPS versus Regina. Yeah.
So let's go to where this breaks out. Let's see if we can find it. I don't know.
Sorry about being late, but the security.
Yeah, it's right about here somewhere. Hold on.
Book out whatever, cause we had.
Let's see, shall we?
But let's see. So.
Yo, man.
Hold on.
Conversation, like please come here.
Is it? I'm trying.
I want stuff at home that.
Nah.
But remember, this is how it happened. This is how it happened, bro.
Yeah, break it down for us.
This is how it happened, bro.
So the brother's talking. There's a brother called, a general rapper called English Frank, I think it was. I wish him well. A UK brother, well, he's English Frank, UK brother, and white guy, and he was on stage and he he said statements, and the statements people said was very anti-African, and we've got the video, but we'll play it afterwards. But this is him. So you can watch it and you think, is he being a peacekeeper or is he a racist offender? I guess.
The Ripper, Bless his soul.
Yo, man, big up Black the Ripper, man. Anyway.
And you remember what Black the Ripper was like? If you like, he's a blessed brother, yeah. It was a blessed youth, but Black the Ripper was a face to you, like a swag, like remember, energy, swag. Feel me? That was Black. Glamorous you feel me? Let's give him his props from there. He weren't like he had a confident vibe. You feel me? So this is a time where People's Army, we could book out jam and it'd be packed. Could book out whatever, because we had that strength of, you know what I mean? And people like myself, Logic, and Frank. Frank was shutting down all sorts. Frank was doing numbers views. You with me? So it was a good time in that period where the man, then when I look back at it now, it was a good time still. But what happened on that night, bro, was, you know how you got set times? Everyone's done the whole set. I'm hosting. You with me? I'm not even performing per se. I might slap in a couple tunes there, hype up the people with the cakes energy, but I'm hosting the night. You feel me? So I'm involved in the set times in that sort of way. You feel me? And then Black the Ripper, if I remember correctly, Black the Ripper and them man are running late a bit. But it comes to their set time, something like this where they're outside. Or we've had, I think something like.
Let's take his time. Let me skip to it. He's talking about why the issue.
Doing like.
Well, this might be part of the whole excuse thing. Who knows? But let's see. The defending thing. Sorry.
Don't even know why Uncle's doing that. You know, Unks with.
Yeah.
You know how them man from them old school man and rare, it would have got taken down. It would have gone down.
It wouldn't even have been anything.
Yeah. Now I wanna keep this a buck. Frank's not racist. He wouldn't have been. There was none of that back in. When I say Frank's not racist, I'm not jumping out the way and saying like. But there was none of that between the man. It was a normal brother. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would have been. We would have been able to have a convo off the cam, off set, and say, yeah, Unks was moving like blah blah blah, and then I could have said, no, you can't. Yeah, like it's just. And even I can't remember. I haven't seen the footage, bro. But if I remember correctly, he's gone on stage, he said that, And what's happened next is I've gone on stage.
Hold on.
No, hold on. No, let me. No. All right, let's say what you
If
say.
you're telling the story and you said you're gonna keep it a buck, then you ain't even said what you said.
Let me go. Let me say what I was about to say. Let me say what I'm going to say. What he said. I'm going to say what he said. So he gone on stage, and he said something like, "Now I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember everything at this point. Honestly, I'm paraphrasing, but he's gone and said something like, you know, because he's African, he's trying to, and bro, there's no way you can say that on camera. There's no way you can justify that, even as a white brother, yeah? But remember, if you weren't a white brother and you said that, that would have been a different conversation. Because we would have said, a man might have gone to you, what do you mean? What was Uncle moving mad? And then you go, oh yeah, because he was trying to, and then you might try and justify what was going on. But And here's what happened. Before, bro. Let me just hit home. So he said that. Remember, and I've gone on stage. I've gone on stage immediately because we're in Brixton, bro. Yeah, like you can't just say like. And I'm saying like, hold on. And then in the heat of the moment, you know, if I can't, now it's been such a long time, bro. But in the heat of the moment, if I remember correctly, it's like me and him are arguing. I'm saying, no, you can't say that and blah, blah, blah. And it just looks bad. It just looks bad for unity in what we were trying.
So we're analyzing that. We'll play the video in a bit. We're analyzing, you know, where, you know, peacekeepers is one thing, but there's racist defenders, and that's something that, and it's segregated. We had a brother on here, and let me play the actual video that it's from, just to give you a better context. So this is the video, happened 7-10 years ago, I don't know, and this is what the brother's defending. So let's have a sneak peek. This brother, he passed away, so you know, rest in peace, him and his family. Wish the best. But they couldn't let him in. He was angry, and he went and he complained to the European guy, the white guy, who wasn't happy that the guy he hired couldn't get in the club to do his musical stuff. Oh, he's getting booed, so he probably said, "Let's move back." So he found. Let's see where it comes. It might be held on.
Preston, get back the room to speak on him. Tell the security guard to let them run in. And let them in, they're supposed to be on stage, you fucking donut. Hey, let them in there on stage. He's so dumb, innit? I don't want to sound racist, but he is African. He's African.
So he says he's been swearing he's so dumb, isn't he? But he is African. He's African. European man on stage with Africans and Afro-Caribbeans, and obviously, African guy in the crowd. This is what he said. This is a guy who was a kind of maybe up and coming kind of like musician of some kind. This is what he said, and so the black man you see in the other video is defending this kind of action. And obviously they're good friends. He doesn't want him. And he hasn't been on the scene for years. Maybe because of this, I don't know. But we're using it as a case study because the videos come up again and these guys are discussing it.
Remember, I'm African.
And then his response is, I'm African. So this is a European using confusion to try to, no, I'm sorry, or maybe I'm wrong. He's trying to use confusion. We're all African, kind of. I've seen it before. We're all African, so I can say I can mistreat Africans. English Frank, by the way. And now he's, rubbing his friend's head here, and it's a joke, haha, whatever. But people are booing. Give the language.
I fucking walked through the door, I'm the guy with the red top. I am the fucking promoter I put on the night. He's asked me 6 times.
He's not really addressing that. He just said a racial comment towards this person. He's more, he said, I'm angry because, he didn't let my friends in or whatever. And now he said, I'm more African than you. I don't know who's talking to you to. But remember, in Speakers Corner, if you follow us, this is a normal behavior that people go, I'm more African than you, and I'm more black than you, and it's like this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, like I said, black people will never use this against an Asian man, a white person, and this is what I'm saying about the comfortability that people afford, and this segues into my discussion with a rapper came on my show not too long ago, where hip hop rapping in the UK at least, and America as well, but pro blackness and this was like at the core center of it, and then it became humanitarianism and all in together now, and it's like black people and the brothers seems to be doing that today with the discussion, where it's like always trying to make excuses for people practicing racism rather than trying to reform them from not doing it, or just make sure you don't put them in a position where their racism can really affect you. He's rubbing the man's head, all this kind of stuff. Like all this behavior is something else. Right? What's interesting is the brother here, he's wearing a t-shirt that says "We progress together." So once again, this that whole kind of kumbaya kind of stuff like this, whatever it is, and black people once again, in the best rappers, whatever it is, they've lived the street life, all this kind of stuff, but they do all this kind of stuff, but they really want to be inclusive of all non-black people, and things like black love and black economics. This is not important. What's important is unifying with their former oppressor, because that's the past, whatever. But then these things come up because you haven't really set your boundaries straight and you haven't sorted black economics. And as you see the brother, we progress together.
Check this out, yeah. Hey, give me the other mic. Where's the other mic? Give me that. This one. Hey, check.
As you can see, the European gentleman, he's not apologetic. It's just a normal everyday thing to him. And now the brother's going to try to maybe come in and maybe control it a bit better.
This out, yeah. Real talk, yeah. Yeah. Man always keeps the thing professional. Yeah. Yeah. I think my mate Frank's had too much to drink.
It's not a good excuse, but I understand live show, you're going to control the crowd, whatever.
But like I told you, fuckers.
Give the language.
On brothers in Africa, yeah? I thought that's what he was going to explain. That we are all African.
No, the European understands the difference between the African descent and the European descent, and they're demonstrating that.
I did not say that. I did not make that up.
Now, like I said, the black rappers, the underground, lyrical miracle kind of rappers in the UK, they will always be like a deer in headlights, because they fully, just like most of the black brothers, whether they're role, the bankers, or whatever it is, they fully embrace humanitarianism concepts. If we're all together, hands in together, they can rob banks, they can, shoot people, they can, score a goal for England, whatever, they can do all these things. But the one thing that they agree to is we're all in this together kind of stuff, progress together, stuff like that. And when these things happen, they don't know how to handle it, because it's shocking. So I didn't think that I'll be mistreated, because I'm listening to you, I'm incorporating you in, all stuff. Like, if we invent something, I'm okay for you to run it. If there's an industry that I dominate, I don't mind working for you in an industry that I dominate, and I don't want to own a share in it. And this is a normal thing. But then obviously when these things happen, I don't understand it, and it usually bamboozles me, never brothers and sisters.
I went to school and I fucking graduated. Welcome, mate. And the school told me that we are all freaking African.
Now, I don't know why he's saying that. Like, the European gentleman has said a racial comment, and does that mean that we're all African so he can continue that? And this is what I'm saying. So anyway, that's the brother they're trying to, and he's doing the friend thing. Big up for him. Yeah, and no one else seems to be that concerned. But obviously, he's on Brother Jedi's show, and let's put it back to it.
Bro.
About 10 years later, this is him. He doesn't remember it. And
bad for unity in what we were trying to do, because in People's Army, bro, there was no racial nothing.
And that's why we're always going to lose, because black people don't value racial unity or racial based activities, while the non-black people do. And that's why the black man is the easiest to conquer. Like, if you want to know how to conquer someone, the black all over the planet, and that is because we don't learn from mistakes. We don't even value the beginning stages of how to progress the community, because it's too inclusive and very defend racist behavior. and we don't get our kind of wires straight with it. And big up this brother, he's an intelligent rapper, very nice person, but maybe he's fallen for that as well, because if you're raised in this kind of community, rap community, that's what pro-blackness is demonized, while humanitarianism and marry everyone and, you know, be hired by everyone and invent something and let someone else run it is very normal.
You feel me? There was white people, there was black people, and we were challenging and crossing them things. Yeah, we were dealing with things.
What did they
that
call
was
him
bigger
again?
about
What
that.
is it? What, Frank? What?
English Frank.
English Frank.
English
That's
Frank.
it.
English Frank. English Frank. Do you know what I mean? So it was just it was in my opinion.
Well, I know Brother Jedi, and you know, we've had many debates online that's still up until they take it down. And the brother is an intelligent brother. I wouldn't. He's not pro-black. You know, he might seem like he swings that way, but he's not really pro. And we've had that discussion, but we try to be respectful. But in the area I went to, Speaker's Corner, I can count on one hand how many of those brothers were actually pro-black. Maybe on 3 fingers. I don't know, right? Yeah. And that and Brother Jedi and all the rest of them, they're all wonderful people, but they're part of the same pattern of black men in the UK that have been raised to either not value pro-blackness or become extremely pro-black and then disregard it. A lot of people, when you ask them are they pro-black, they say they're not pro-black, but they're pro-truth or they're humanitarianisms. I'm not saying this is Brother Jedi and these other people, but usually they use that because they have an interest in approaching the doors of white men, or you know, they've got a lot of best friends that's from other countries, and they feel that they can't be pro-black instead of a friend. They have these interesting ways of processing information.
Just true, we started rapping about it. We'll address it because it was, and although it was a long time ago, like I said, bless Frank.
How long ago was it?
Bro, I can't remember, man. You know, time flies. It must be a good 10 years ago,
Yeah,
bro. It must be a good 10 years ago. You feel me? So, yeah, like it, like what I'm trying to point out is during them times, bro.
Dumb African is what he said.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah. Is that what you said? Are you sure? You gotta play that.
The brother, enough respect to the brother, but it's almost like, for me, it's like a comedy moment, because obviously we've just seen the video, but this, it's only because I see this behavior in black people, black rappers as well. Like, it's like there is no equivalent of black people doing this the other way. There is no equivalent. But you know, we can only laugh because black people, unfortunately, are collectively inadequate. We haven't recovered from being conquered by others. Very shocking statement, but I always use these videos as case studies when I do my open talks to just demonstrate that, you see.
We gotta play that. I didn't even imagine. Remember, I went on stage and challenged him, you know, but I couldn't even remember that's what he said. It's bonkers still. Let me see. Let me see it. No, let me see it. Let me see it.
Wait, let me play it though. Hold on. He's just got some writing up on the screen right now.
I said the security guard was moving dumb because he was African. Now, I know, yeah.
This is his apology. That's his apology.
No, that's the apology.
So basically, but he's admitted that he said he's moving dumb because he's African.
Nah, but I don't.
And he did say something like that.
Nah, I don't. Yeah, I'd have to remember because it's been such a long time.
He's apologizing for saying that.
No, bro, come on, man. You know how it's like me saying.
The brother's apologizing, but yet he's still defending. But once again, this is normal behavior, and the brother's trying to be loyal to a friend, but I think we have to understand that when it comes to racism and stuff, there needs to be, like, Jewish people. The interesting thing is you have people like Wiley in the UK and the brother in America, Chris Cannon or Nick Cannon. Sorry, you know, they're best friends with Jewish people. They made those Jewish people millions. Those Jewish people loved them. Had pictures on their wall like this. That man has made millions. As soon as they say something that those individuals deem as anti-Semitic, they shut down the business. They shut down all the awards are taken down. They don't communicate. They move away immediately. So this is we don't have that. This is the challenge, and we should bring this up in conversation to find out why and what we can do. Also, when black people are allegedly doing anti-Semitic things, they have to go on apology tours, pay money, and go and be seen with rabbis and this kind of stuff. Maybe we need the equivalent in black communities and that kind of stuff. Maybe you have to pay for a lifetime money to a black organization, say sorry, a pair of Rastafarians apologizing or something. I don't know. There's a collection of things. Maybe we have to have the apology tour. We have to get sorted here. But once again, it's very easy to mistreat black people and get away with it because we've been conditioned to let so.
It's like me saying, yeah, it's like a man saying, yeah, I just gave him a daughter. And then a man saying, if you don't know the context of it, that sounds nuts.
Yeah.
But
There's no
where we grow up.
There's no
No,
context
hold
of
on a
white
second.
guys.
No, hold on a second. But on that clip you just showed, he's gone because he's moving dumb. I'm apologizing because I just want to see. Remember, I was there,
That's not what he said.
But I just want to see. I can't even remember what he said. But what I do remember was he was saying, what he was saying, yeah, in paraphrasing, was the way he was moving was you know them African uncles. Yeah, he just you don't.
He can't remember what was said, but he's already trying to like position it in a way. And this is a friendship thing, whatever. I get it, but he's really trying to soften what and when the gentleman said the statements about Africans. He was slapping the guy in the head, not apologizing, getting angry at the crowd and saying, I can say what I want, I'm African, and we have to have an educated kind of conversation about what we're doing here. Now, remember, there was a rap brother who came on a few months back, maybe here, and he was angry when I was talking about black economics and loving black women. And he's like, I'm underground. And I said that, yeah, I'm well versed with the underground hip hop scene because I was in it. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of people a lot of money many years ago. I was an engineer there. I was in a lot of things there. So I know that, black rappers were the kings of Kumbaya. The kings of Kumbaya. And, and this comes from a kind place. But unfortunately, this kind place doesn't collectively help black people. So we need to get pro-blackness and we need to reform it, hence what Black Betterment is, so they can understand the necessity of Black Betterment. And that's why I have to use these as case studies to demonstrate that, unfortunately, black men haven't recovered from being conquered by white men.
Really get the thing, and he was just trying to... Remember, Frank's from Bricky, bro. Yeah? He's I know he's white, yeah? But...
Yeah, he's from Bricky. Yeah?
No, let me finish. No, but I'm in the middle of a point, though.
Very important something to remember as well, and I'm very clear of this. And it's always good to see black people defending black people, but and we want to do that. But remember, there's always two types of repair, right? There's racism repair and racial repair. A racism repairer is someone who wants to replace and get rid of racism, because they don't like racism. And that's good. That makes sense. And that's within the black community. There's many. And there's racial repairs, so people who want to actually fix black people from racism. And that's important because it's an important distinction because the racism repairers, they will want to end racism because it affects them and they know it's bad. But ultimately, they're not really connected to the black community like that. It's just they know something's wrong and they want to get rid of it so they can marry Europeans or play with Europeans or just live in a peaceful world. That's nice. But then you have racial repairs, people who remember the ancestors and are aware that the economic structure of black people is underwhelming, so they want to repair the racial group. You see, so this is the motivation behind why people might actually fight racism, and know why is important because that's how you're going to be able to network with other people to actually find solutions.
Bro, I'm in the middle of a point. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is so off the cuff, yeah. There's certain things. Same way I'll be talking to certain people where I don't expect my white friends to take it as the way what he done was absolutely mad, bro. Don't get it twisted.
They know that, bro.
Remember, I'm the one who's gone on stage and said, "Yo, you can't really say that, bro.
And
you can't say that."
And you weren't checking him because he said something like, "Oh, he's moving a bit dumb." He said,
that's
man's
nuts.
dumb, and man said it's because he's an African. I remember he said that,
I said that's not. Who me?
No, he said. He said because he's an African, and the tone and whatever the setting was enough for you to check because it weren't a light little comment. It was a mad comment. But obviously, in time, you're sanding it down a bit because you know him as a person, and as we get older, we get less militant. Some of us,
bro. Let me
Do you know
tell
what I
you
mean.
something.
It happens to all of us.
Bro.
This is why. Well, let me just say this. This is why grandma never treats the grandson the way that she treated you. You know what I mean? Where your mum might have been strict.
I don't know him. I'm not. innately African, but obviously I'm Caribbean, I'm Jamaican, innit? But what I'm
But
saying,
let me- can I
wait,
just
wait,
say
wait,
what
let
I
me
was
just
gonna say
say,
about Brixton?
wait, can I
Because
just say
it-
this before you say
yeah,
that?
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
say this before. So, because he's probably grown up and moved around bare yard, man, and bare Jamaican heritage.
Thank you.
And back in the day, you remember, like, certain Africans wouldn't say
Thank
that
you.
African. So he's gone
He
off
lost
on
himself.
He's gone off on that tangent, and he's gone off in like he's a Caribbean person.
Yeah.
So when he said it in a black crowd,
facts.
he's thinking that's going to be taken in from the Caribbean
Yeah.
perspective of back then.
Yeah, but you lost yourself.
But because you are a white bro who, if you don't know him,
no, it don't matter. What,
no, wait. I'm saying if you don't know him as a black person, I'm like, right, this white man saying that about.
You'll never see this explanation for the Jewish people talking about Wiley or Nick Cannon or these other kind of people.
Black people,
Bro, let me tell you,
but from the people where he's grown up,
Yeah.
his environment.
Trying to understand the psychology. Remember, there was we saw a video in the 1950s or whatever, well, before then, sorry, when the Second World War, where they're teaching people how not to be racist, whatever, right? Like it's all systematic. It's all inherently learned, yeah. And he said himself, "I know you're going to think I'm racist, but he's African." So he understood the context of what he was saying.
He feels he's.
Bro, let me tell you something.
Do you understand what I'm
Let me
saying?
tell you something. Let me tell you something. Yeah.
But it's
no, bro.
yeah.
I'm not on this new internet nonsense comment cancel culture.
This is important as well. From
Remember, I'm old school, bro. It's like man's are acting like man don't know what time it is, bro. Like, cut a long story short, is he racist, bro? Man.
Is Wiley anti-Semitic? Is Nick Cannon anti-Semitic? No, they're making comments that shows that there's an element there and it needs to be addressed immediately in reverse, and it needs to be taken care of.
Hold on, listen. I don't know, but do you know how much bread?
Well, if you don't know, then you should approach it maybe differently, bro.
Do you know how much time he's at? Does he move? No. So cut a long story. It's like the ginger thing the other
Now, this is an interesting analogy.
day. Ginger's come up on thing. He said something. It might not be right today. He might need some knowledge to change his thing. But no one can't cancel no one.
The severity of what the Ginger Brothers said about black women is unacceptable. In our community, we shouldn't accept black men mistreating black women openly and then upholding other community groups above our black women. This needs to be a standard of manhood. And once again, remember I said black men haven't recovered from being conquered by white men, so this is hard to understand. And also, we cannot allow non-black people, especially the descendants of those who have enslaved and mistreated black people and have not paid reparations, to feel comfortable in black spaces when we're not comfortable in white spaces to just practice racism openly on stage with a microphone. But once again, because black people, and more particularly black men, haven't recovered from being conquered by white men, all this is normal. And that's why next week on stage, when I talk about the importance of black men and black women, I might use it as a case study, because especially the UK is a fallen kingdom when it comes to black men and understanding what pillar to stand on. Like, I remember there was a time where rappers, who could rhyme in time, be sublime, all that good stuff, and would research knowledge, would be the bastions of pro-blackness. But now it's the opposite. They're thoroughly conquered. But we have love for these brothers, and we're going to help them.
Because at the end of the day, that's how we think.
Sorry.
No.
It's not the same.
Let me show. No. It's not. Bro. I didn't say it's the same.
No, I know, but we
I
can't,
said it's
we
like
can't compare a white man. No, we can't compare a white man who,
bro, there's black men
regardless
that
of
do worse. There's black men that do worse, and that's the point that I'm trying to say to you. All right, that I didn't come here for this show to talk about done. Do you know what I mean? But whereas we're on the thing, I will address it the same way, bro. All right?
Yeah.
Because there's like, if we start nitpicking, remember my thing is fix the log in your app. Yeah, I'm not here to preach no nothing. I don't go church on Sunday, but fix yourself before you start trying to fix or whatever. There's man that's more toxic and more nonsense, But if we're talking about this specific scenario, bro, he's gone out on stage and said a madness. It's as simple as that. Now, have I ever gone out off cam and said a madness to my friends and family? Of course I have. And sometimes I have to check myself. It's as simple as that, bro.
It's a very different dynamic. I don't know what that madness is, but a European gentleman on stage doing black culture. If black people on stage who funded him and gave an opportunity to a black crowd, mistreating black people versus whatever you said in the privacy of your house, which wherever it is that it needs to reform it, whatever it is, right? But yeah, there is a different dynamic. And then not apologizing straight away until, a couple, whatever days later. And, this is, I think the comfiness that the brothers allow this individual is why he can do it. And this is, you're seeing that process now.
It's as simple as that. Now check this. When I've said a madness, can anyone try and say no? He ain't the cakes I know. Yeah, nah, bro. Don't get it twisted. It was mad, and I tried to bring some context to it. This is how it occurred. Remember, Unks was sweating him at the door because of the boom. Because they had Black the Ripper and them man roll around with bare boom. People, but Unks don't get, one of them real Unks from Unks don't give a shit about that.
I think to round it up, this is what I'm gonna say. This little segment here, right? Internet makes things amplified, right? So for example, if you had back in the day before internet and everything, if you had a fight in your area, whether you won or lost, it's not going past a certain.
You might say, you know what, you're cooler now. You're cool with the brother,
but. Now, if you
the
lose a fight
talking,
now,
you got to fight again.
Someone in Australia can know about it. So the embarrassment spreads there. So my thing is, innately, I wouldn't say to myself that Frank is racist because he's grown around the thing. But what happens is when you say something like that, say even a man in Africa.
Racism is a system, and as long as you live in it, and you're non-black, you can have elements of that system in your thought process. And if you are black, you can have elements of that system in your thought process. And that's why you see these black men, and not just them, but in general, subservient to white men practicing racism, you see. And the white men are comfortable to practice racism in front of them because of that system. This is the case study, right? And black men don't know it. Now, obviously, my grievance is black rappers used to be the bastion of knowledge, and they used to rap about that. But today, black people rap about how best to kill another black person, how best to have sexual relations with another black person, or just another white person, usually, generally, and how best to smoke some kind of drugs and lose consciousness, all this kind of stuff, which is very entertaining. But it's not going to elevate black people, and that's why pro-blackness needs to come back in. And hopefully people on this show can be a part of that process. Hopefully this is a good case study to demonstrate that black people have not recovered from being conquered by white people. But not to worry, it's all love, and we're going to help these brothers. And if any brothers or sisters see these shows and they disagree, you're welcome to jump on. And like I said, Brother Jedi, we debate many moons, and we've had very, very good clashes. So if ever I say things, I'm always ready to go and defend it or to explain my angle. But let's carry on this before we end the show. We'll play for 2 more minutes and we'll go.
Africa, even people in the country, but people who don't know him, they don't know that he's not racist. Yeah, and I know that he felt that. I mean.
I remember it now, bringing that.
There you go. Well, so family, don't forget, I'll be on a show called the Powers Podcast next week. Is it streaming? It might be live, hosted. It says live. I don't know if that means streaming live. Let me ask him. But if you want to go, there's the information there. I'll be bringing up this. I'll be bringing up, hopefully, Black Love. I told him I want to talk about Black Love with black men. I ask the traditional questions I ask, and I suspect I'll get the same response. I would like to talk about the economic issue we're going through at the moment, and the so-called what's it called? Not boycotting, and and black people subservience. Let me know if you want me to bring up anything there for the show. And also if you want to be on this show, anything you want to say before we go, let us know. We're gonna because it's 2 hours. I'm gonna go to bed. Blah blah blah. But remember, this is your show. This is the community show, and this is for us. So regardless of where you are in the world, or your opinions matter. And for those black people who spend time to help and educate black people, know that you're important. And for those who don't, know that you're loved. Yeah. And that's why we do what we do. Big up everyone. Don't forget tell a friend to join it, to jump in. If you ever want to do a show about what you want, let us know. But we're going to go now, fam, because I am going to go to bed. So I'm going to go. And I need to get some other things ready. But for Black Bearmen, to all Black Bearmen, until next week, have a good time. Bye. Press an end. It's going to end the show. There you go.